Hello friends, it's Klauds here and I am back with another video. So today, I am going to be talking to you guys about my June 2021 wrap-up. And yes, I did not do a June 2021 TBR video because I was kind of in a YouTube rut slump around May and June, as you can tell by the lack of videos in my channel during that time period. Anyway, I'm back now, and yeah. So, since June is Pride Month, it's Pride again! I prioritized books written by LGBTQ plus authors or were stories about LGBTQ plus characters. And I have to say, it's kind of a mix. Some of the books I read weren't LGBT. Some were I didn't know had LGBT in it when I started reading it, and it was kind of like a happy surprise, like, oh, I just wanted to read you now, and yeah. Same-sex relationships! So let's get right on. And again, if you want to know the synopsis to this book, just Google it because I don't want to edit a 1 hour plus video. So, I read quite a number of books. I listed down that I read 15, but I definitely read more than that because books that were, that I binge read as a series, I kind of just put it all together in like one bullet so that I wouldn't have that hard of a time talking to you guys about it. Yeah, okay, so let's get started. So, the first book I read for the month of June, and of course, I wanted to get myself wrecked at the very start of the month and, you know, hopefully end on like a happier note, which it kinda did and didn't, but well, yeah, we'll get to that. So the first book I read was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. And if you're familiar with Greek mythology, it's kind of a retelling. I know I said I wasn't gonna explain it, but here we are. It's a retelling of the story of Achilles and Patroclus. I'm not entirely familiar with this guy's story in like Greek mythology. I kind of know like the term Achilles heel, like that's the weakness. Thank you, Percy Jackson, and that one SRA chapter that I had to read when I was in like the first or second grade. This book both underwhelmed me and overwhelmed me. Like, don't get me wrong, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But I don't know, maybe it was because of the hype that left me kind of underwhelmed. You get what I mean? And also, I don't easily cry when I read books or when I watch movies and shows. Songs, it depends. I kind of cry with songs. But books and movies, so I wasn't really expecting to cry when reading this, but I wanted to get that feel that I wanted to cry. And I did. It just, I don't know, it left me overwhelmed. But after I read this, I bumped into I heard it before I read it, but it was only now that after I read it, I knew what it was. But there's this TikTok audio that is actually a snippet from the audiobook that people use it as like an animation song, a sound for their animation or for a skit or whatever. And after hearing that, I heard it when I heard it before, like, oh, now reading it, it hits, like when I heard that TikTok sound again, like I was just scrolling through, it kind of hit harder, and I kind of wish that I listened to the audiobook instead. I think that would have made me like cry even more, or at least get to that point of actually like tearing up.
You're laughing, it's not funny.
I'm not laughing. You just stop.
But yeah, like, why couldn't they just have been happy together? Like, this review, this wrap-up, part of my wrap-up's really like all over the place. I'm so sorry. But yeah, basically left me underwhelmed and overwhelmed all at the same time. And the underwhelmed, I think it's just because of all the hype that surrounded this book, with YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. Yeah, but I get why everybody loves this. I love it. It's just, yeah, again, because of all the hype, I got left underwhelmed. Moving on. Next is The Sky Blues by Robbie Couch. I'm gonna say two things here. First, I saw this book on my Instagram feed from that YA Buzz account that announces news about YA literature. Anyway, so I saw this on my feed because of that account. And I saw that I saw it for the first time in a post saying, you know, like, oh, it's a new book release, and this kind of stood out to me because look how pretty that cover is.
Can I just say one more thing? Look how pretty!
Look how pretty this cover. He is a chef's kiss to the graphic designer, the cover artist, and just even the art style and the font. It's such a pretty cover. Also, another post that I saw this in is about it being adapted into a film. So I think it's gonna come out maybe next year. I think they're in development right now. I don't know, it's been months since I saw that post, so I assume they're in development. And yeah, when I saw this in Fully Booked, here's the thing, I kinda don't like buying contemporaries right away because I'm almost always left kinda in the middle about it. Especially since it's a new release, I was really hesitant to buy it because it's a new release, it's a hardbound book, so it's more expensive than the usual paperback, right? So I didn't want to buy it at first, but the cover was so pretty. I had to do it. So yeah, with that said, I enjoyed this. It was really cute. It reminded me of Simon versus the Homo sapien agenda, or Love, Simon if you only know it by the movie. I don't know, the plot is very similar to Can I say Love, Simon for simplicity's sake, please?
Love, Simon.
I'm gonna say Love, Simon. So, just kind of like Love, Simon, the story's already about a kid, a high school teenager who is already out. And then a secret kind of goes public. And now he has to find out who revealed that secret. So, plot was kind of okay, but what really made me like it was the friendship in it.
It's the best friends forever! Best friends forever! Sing!
The strong friendship ties, and I don't know, like, I really liked the characters. Even the side characters were great, and I liked that romance wasn't a big part of the plot. Yeah, it was really more of about acceptance and finding yourself and really just finding out who you are, and that's what I really liked about this book. So yeah, you guys should definitely check out The Sky Blues by Robbie Couch, and don't be like me and, you know, just buy a book because the cover was pretty, because thankfully I like the story. Thankfully, because in the past experiences have gone a little awry.
Look how pretty!
But yeah, okay. If you remember from my April wrap-up video, I read Heartstopper volumes 1 and 2, and both left me kind of in tears because everything was just so cute. I love them both so much. And of course, I had to order volumes 3 and 4.
I regret nothing!
Thank you, Book Depository. After I read volume 2, I was really curious where they were gonna go from there, because thankfully there wasn't a lot of back and forth. You know how like some sitcoms, they kind of draw out the main couple getting together so that the show could run longer. Thankfully, they didn't do that, and they got together. Nick and Charlie, they got together pretty quickly. So after volume 2, I was really wondering where Alice Oseman was gonna go, and Alice Oseman did not disappoint. Heartstopper Volume 3, let's start off here. Heartstopper Volume 3 is still really cute, but also needs trigger warnings. So if you have mental health issues, if you have problems with eating disorders, take caution when reading Heartstopper Volume 3 and 4. And what I liked is that we kind of delve into more serious topics. This, as cute as it was, it felt a little bit more like a filler. I didn't realize it at first when I first finished reading this. It was only when I read Volume 4 when I realized that Volume 3 was kind of a stepping stone to Volume Volume 4, which I'm not mad about. I still enjoyed it. I'm just, telling you my thoughts. And yeah, really cute. They go to Paris in this one, and it's just the cutest thing, and it's couple goals. And in Volume 4, this is when it gets really serious, and this is when you gotta take caution. You gotta take caution when you read this one. We still have the signature Heartstopper, cute Nick and Charlie, but what I love is that Alice Oseman, she makes you taste Nick and Charlie's relationship. Like, it's all cute and flowers at the start, and then just like a real relationship, the people in the relationship have issues and problems. And Alice Oseman does not stray away from that. She does not sugarcoat it. She shows you what it's like to be in a relationship and to have mental health problems. And Alice Oseman really shows you what it's like ideally to be in a relation, to have these problems and have support. Have a support system, a really good support system.
Sometimes you just need somebody to give you a hug and say, I got you.
And yeah, I really like Volume 3 and 4. I love where Alice Oseman is taking this, and yeah, those are my thoughts on Heartstopper Volumes 3 and 4. I feel like I'm gonna get a little backlash on my next one, but anyway. The next book I read was History's All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. I did not enjoy this book at all. Maybe it's also because I'm not the target audience for this. Maybe I'd be singing a different tune if I had read this when I was like 16, 17, maybe even 18. But now at 22, yeah, I wasn't really feeling it. I barely remember what the story is about, but what I do remember thinking is that these characters are pretty toxic for each other, and like, I kept wondering, is this a healthy way to deal with grief? Because I'm not an expert, and thankfully, I've never lost anyone like really, really close to me, but I really was wondering, is this a healthy way to deal with grief?
Perhaps not.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say much about this book. Again, I didn't enjoy it that much. Okay, I prefer They Both Die at the End if you really want to read an Adam Silvera book. Adam Silvera, who hurt you? If he's not co-writing a book with someone, the books that he writes, like solo, are pretty much about death. Adam, who hurt you? Who hurt you? Anyway, I would prefer They Both Die at the End if you really want to read something by Adam Silvera. My thoughts on that book is fine. I enjoyed it more. Not my favorite, but kind of better. I like the romance in that one a lot better as well. This, I don't know. I don't know what to feel. I don't even remember. I barely remember what I thought about this book. That's how much I didn't enjoy it.
Wait, who are you?
It's me, Oscar. You're just kidding with me again, right? Oh, you're so hard to read.
But yeah, anyway, yeah. Oh, my bookmark is still inside. Whoops. It's a corpse husband. Yeah. Yeah. So the next 3 books I read were White Sand Volumes 1 to 3 by Brandon Sanderson. So I've said this in the past, and I guess I'll say it again if you haven't watched my past wrap-ups or TBRs. But I'm kind of doing the Brandon Sanderson Crab-Along, which is a year-long read-along of his books. And for the month of June, the chosen books were White Sand Volumes 1 to 3. And because they're graphic novels, I decided to read it in like one sitting, and I'm glad I decided to do that because I was not enjoying it at all. Oh my god. First of all, oh no, I'm not like an artist, okay? But I was not enjoying the art style. I think it changed around volume 2 or 3, but yeah, I was already initially turned off by the art style. I don't know, I didn't like looking at it. Looking at it made me feel weird. I don't know, I don't want to judge because I'm like, yeah, but I don't know, that's just me. I didn't really like it. And the story, I'm so confused. I'm so confused.
I'm so confused.
I don't know what's happening right now.
I'm so confused. I don't know what's happening right now. Title your sex tape.
Yeah, I mean, the first part was pretty good. Like, the initial premise, like, what happened, like, the trauma the main character went through. Sort of like, Assassin's Creed, which one is it? Revelations? The one with Ezio? Kind of like that. Like, that kind of beginning. But, yeah, I enjoyed Brandon Sanderson's books. Like, Mistborn so far, and Elantris, and Warbreaker, but this one, yeah, I'm not gonna think about it any longer. The next book I read, or well, listened to, was All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. So, I listened to the audiobook of this because if I'm gonna read a memoir and the audiobook is read by the author, I would prefer to listen to it because I think there's just something profoundly different about the author being the one to read it, especially because it's a memoir. So since it's their own thoughts, their own experiences, the way they read it would have been so much different from a hired voice actor reading it. And I'm so glad I chose to do that because I got a taste as well of George M. Johnson's personality, the sass.
In the words of my hero, Miss Mary J. Blige, I'm leaving this firehouse and I ain't never coming back!
Listening to All Boys Aren't Blue really gave me a perspective on what it's like to be queer. And not only that, but for George M. Johnson, what it's like to be queer and black in America. And that's a whole other experience. But the whole queer part, it reminds you that you are human and, it's gonna take time for you to figure things out, or it could be as early as when you're a toddler, or it can be later in life. But yeah, and just because you're queer doesn't mean you can't fit in with, the people who are in your age group or with your class. And acceptance, mainly. I know I'm rambling here. It's just... I really enjoyed All Boys Aren't Blue. If you have the chance to read it, or if you could possibly listen to it, I highly suggest that you do. And yeah, one of my favorites for this month. The next book I read is The Grey Wolf Throne by Sunda Williams-Chima. This is the third book of the Seven Realms series, and I think I read the second in April. And if you remember from that video, I assume it was that video, I said that I didn't really enjoy the second book and it felt like it was a filler for the upcoming books, and I was right. At least that's what I think, because I really didn't enjoy book 2, but I did enjoy book 3. I am so glad about the character growth of the main characters. I can't say much because I don't want to spoil books 1 and 2 for those who plan to read it, but character growth, plot is thickening, and yeah, there's a lot of political intrigue that I did not expect to get from this series. But am I unhappy about it? No. Am I enjoying it? Yes. Yeah, I don't want to say more because spoilers. The next book I read was The Unbroken by C.L. Clark. I was originally not planning to read this book so soon because, I don't know, I saw my friends on Bookstagram and Booktube reading this, and a lot of people had mixed feelings, and I don't know, so it wasn't really on like my priority list. But then I wasn't fully booked. I was in the fantasy section, and this was the one and only copy that was there, and I heard from other people that they were having difficulty finding a copy, so I kinda took the chance and bought it. And then it was after I bought it that I found out there was sapphic elements in this book.
You're my king.
So I was like, okay, I'll read it in June for Pride. So here I am. It was a little hard to get into. I was borderline in a slump while reading this. I don't know, I expected something else. The characters, they kind of made it hard to enjoy the story, but at the same time, I see a lot of potential for growth in them. So I'm excited to see what's gonna happen next in this series. I honestly thought this was a standalone, but here we are. I'm honestly excited to see what's gonna happen next because I want to know. what are the characters gonna do? How are they gonna be? And I'm so glad that the romance didn't happen like so soon. Like it gave you a little taste, and then C.L. Clark took it away. And I don't know, I'm kind of glad that that happened and it wasn't just insta-love or romance in the second half of the book. It was definitely not that. There's hardly any romance in this, actually. Sexual tension, yes. Romance, no.
Raising fingers. Washing carrots.
And I don't know if there will be romance. At this point, I'm really more excited about the plot. But yeah, not one of my best reads for this month. The next book I read was King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. I did not enjoy this book as much as I thought I would. If you are familiar with Shadow and Bone and basically the entire Grishaverse, then you know King of Scars is
Part of that
so King of Scars, we know, is about Nikolai, who shows up in one of the Shadow and Bone books. I won't say which one just in case someone didn't heed my warning and is still watching until now. I love Nikolai. Nikolai is one of my favorite characters. Nikolai carried the Shadow and Bone trilogy on his back. The man probably paid a fortune to a chiropractor to get that fixed.
Why didn't he? So you could come back here and strike fear into our hearts, but it won't work.
I like that we focus now more on, what's the name of their Ravka. On Ravka now. The Shadow and Bone, we focus on like the Civil War. And I think we were only really in Ravka for the second book. And then Six of Crows was in a different country. Hi, editing Clauds here. I would just like to clarify that I meant Oskervo, like the kingdom, like the capital. Ravka is the country, and we were in Ravka for the entire duration of the Shadow and Bone trilogy, but it was, I think, the second book when we were only really in Oskervo, which is the capital where the castle is. Like, other than the first book, I mean. But like, the first book we focused more on Alina, second book we really like see how the kingdom works and stuff, or like how the castle works and stuff. Anyway, yeah, that I just wanted to clarify that. Now we're back in Ravka, and we get insight as well to how the politics play out. Basically, what happened after the end of Ruin and Rising, which is the third book and the finale of the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I don't know. It was meh. It was fine. It was okay. I'll say more after I introduce my next book, which is Rule of Wolves, also by Leigh Bardugo. So, duology. I enjoyed this a lot more. I enjoyed this a lot more. I will say for both, there's a lot of yearning in it. Like, Mr. Darcy level of yearning.
Persuaded, is she not?
Of most profoundly.
No, I said played quite well.
I'm not gonna say between who, but yeah, I can't say much because of spoilers as well. I'll just say that I definitely enjoyed Rule of Wolves more. There was a lot more character growth. The plot was a lot clearer. I enjoyed the side characters more than I did the mains in King of Scars. Here, I enjoyed everyone's. Like, I was begging for more. Also, like, heed my warning, you're gonna need tissues for this one. Yeah, go pick up King of Scars and Rule of Wolves. Also, I will say now that if you don't know, some of these books that I've read are multi-POVs, like Grey Wolf Throne, The Unbroken, Rule of Wolves, King of Scars. And I'm slowly realizing that it's kind of harder for me personally, to get into multi-POV books because you're reading one person's POV and it has a flow, right? Because it's a character. And then the POV changes in the next chapter and the flow changes. So you kind of have to get used to that again. I think that's why it was hard for me to get into King of Scars and The Unbroken. Because, I don't know, with Leigh Bardugo, I think now it's kind of a staple that her books are going to be multi-POVs. Which I'm not, like, mad about. I'm not complaining about it. Like, how she writes characters now compared to Shadow and Bone trilogy, whew! girl did good. Yeah, I think it's just a me thing. It's a personal thing. It was hard, like with Unbroken, it was hard for me to get into, but especially with multi, how like it's multi POVs, right? So it's also in like different settings. Cause Six of Crows, it was multi POV'd, but they were all essentially in the same place. Does that make sense? Whereas King of Scars and The Unbroken, like, you know, same country, more or less, but you know, it gets confusing because you're like, wait, where am I again? Huh? Oh, we're here in the okay, cool. So there's kind of that. It's like you're in one and then you're brought out of it and then you're put in another dimension. Yeah, does that make sense? I'm gonna hope that made sense because I do not know any other way to explain it. Yeah, hopefully you get me. The next book I read was an anticipated release for me because I loved this author's debut novel, and that would be One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. This book, I liked it so much. I enjoyed it. I love all the music references, and I think that's Casey McQuiston's thing, where Casey McQuiston uses music as inspiration and, I don't know, kind of a plot device, maybe? I wouldn't say, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, Casey McQuiston's music taste is very, very evident in their two books, this one and Red, White, and Royal Blue. I will be honest, I enjoyed Red, White, and Royal Blue more. I think because there was more drama in it, and I don't know, I think I enjoyed the characters there a lot more. Not to say that I didn't enjoy the characters here, I still love them, especially August's roommates. Red, White, and Royal Blue will always have a special place in my heart, but I really liked One Last Stop, and it was very different for me because I was really expecting something, you know, just contemporary, but there was a hint of sci-fi, magical realism.
Perhaps next time we should buy new.
Prepare to... Oh no! My enemies from beyond space!
I don't know, which was like, I don't know, kind of a breath of fresh air for me because I rarely get that. So yeah, you should go pick up One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, and also check out Casey McQuiston's Spotify playlist because they have a playlist of Red, White, and Royal Blue, and they also has a playlist of One Last Stop on Spotify, and really good. The playlists are compiled songs of the songs used in both books, so if you want to check that out, it's on Spotify. The next book I read was Black Sun by Rebecca Rowan Horse. This is another example of a book that was hard for me to get into because of the multi-POVs. There was a lot of POVs in this one too, but it took a while for me to like it. The first part was slow. It was so slow.
I'ma take it slow. I'ma take it slow.
So slow.
Baby.
It's been
3 hours. Where the hell were you guys?
We took it slow.
And then the second part, action started picking up, intrigue started picking up, political drama started picking up, and I really liked it. I have to say, I enjoyed this one character's POV the most, Xiara. She's like cool, lesbian, bisexual, pansexual pirate, and just, I loved her. Xiara could step on me, and I would thank her.
We die.
Bye.
Anyway, I'm really excited to read the sequel. I don't know why I keep thinking these books are standalones. I thought this book was also a standalone. So like in the last 50 pages, I was like, wait, how are they gonna resolve all this in 30 pages? Let's say 20 for the denouement. But it was only like cliffhanger when I realized, oh, it's a series. It's a freaking series. Okay, duly noted. We'll be anticipating the next book then because I want to know how it all gets resolved. The next book I read was In Deeper Waters by F.T. Lukens. My baby boys. I wish this book was longer. I have no idea why the author thought it would be a good idea to compress this entire book to 303 pages. Why? F.T. Lukens, listen to me. This deserved to be longer, okay? the journey in the middle had to be drawn out. It was almost insta-love, but not, because you know that it took place in the span of quite a long period of time, or quite a bit of a period of time, but it didn't feel that way because it all happened so quickly. Like, they're in one town by this chapter, and then they're in the destination by the next one. So it's, like, let me sip the romance. My baby boys. Also, there was quite a bit of plot armor for the ending, which I'm not mad about. I'm so happy that there was plot armor, because I would have been so mad if it had ended that way. But yeah, I was very, very close to throwing this book at the wall out of anger, but thankfully that didn't happen, and I'm very happy. And I love found family, but there's something but the family in this one is so good. So good. The sibling love. I love them all so much. If y'all are still looking for wives, I'm here. I'm here for you, baby boy. Not these baby boys, like the other characters. Now for my last 6 books. To end June, I read Given volumes 1 to 6 by Natsuki Kizu. Let me just bring you back to History's All You Left Me. History's All You Left Me and Given kind of have similar premises. They both take place after a loved one's death, and the main characters are going through their grieving process. And while this had me questioning, are you a healthy way to cope with grief? Given, on the other hand, had me just wanting to hold this little boy and tell him he's gonna be okay, and that he's loved, and he deserves to be loved, and that it's okay to move on.
Nothing's gonna hold you, no, while I'm around.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, I was kind of spoiled even before I read it, and then I binge watched the anime last night as well. Oh, the emotions!
I'm so emotional!
But it's okay. It's okay. What I didn't like about Given was that how some of the timing of the plot happens. Like, you have the main plot, then you also have kind of side plots, but I don't know, the side plots were kind of all over the place, and I wish we had just one cohesive arc after one cohesive arc, instead of having one long cohesive arc and having what should have been a cohesive arc as like a secondary plot, because that's what they did in the manga, and in the anime that's how they did it. Like, it was one arc, well done arc, and that they released as one season, and then that other arc I was talking about was released as a separate movie. Like, it's still like this, like the same thing. It was just that I think the creators probably thought, we can just compress this into one movie. If they had made it into a series, it could have been like a 4 or 5 episode season. But yeah, I'm really glad they chose to do it into a movie instead, because the running time was only 1 hour long. So yeah, I'm kind of glad that happened. So like the manga, it got really confusing to read, and kind of took away sometimes from the gravity of the main storyline. So yeah, because it's about music. Obviously, you don't really get to appreciate the songs, especially the like whoa factor that gets drawn in the manga, until you watch the anime, and they have music for it. It's on Spotify. I can't understand a word of it, but I loved it, and has been on repeat on Spotify since this morning as I try to hold back my tears. But anyway, if you're new to manga and you don't want to read something so long, Given is still ongoing, but it's still like, it's 6 volumes so far. There are some chapters already out for the next volume, but it's still short enough that you can catch up in a short period of time. But heed my warning, mental health, trigger warnings, guys. Trigger warning for suicide. So that was my June 2021. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Click on the bell icon. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!